What is up, guys? It is your boy Tony, and we are back again. It has been a very long minute since I have posted on my YouTube, and yeah, I'm definitely excited to bring you guys with some new content. It's been a long while. The last time you guys saw me was last summer, almost around this time. It was like July, I would say, like June, July. And I had stepped away from YouTube just because there was a lot on my plate, and I just found myself extremely overwhelmed trying to be able to manage the channel, work, my marriage, and as well as the ministry in which it is that I had at church at the time. But now I'm back again, and I'm excited. We are in a whole different era now. We are in a whole different standpoint at this moment. Nobody thought that sometime last year that, a year from now, we would be in a pandemic, and this is a global pandemic. So that is extremely good coffee there. Complimentary of the grind. So let's shout out to them. Compliments to the grind. So yeah, anyways, we are here, man, and just being the situation that we're in, I was able and I was given the time to be able to, get back on the channel and hopefully be able to encourage you guys, reconnect with you guys, build the audience more than anything as well, and reach more people. And I am so excited with basically a new project that we're starting. And I must thank my friend Jeremy, also known as Anonymous Pair on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to his channel down below. Really good friend of mine, and as well as my friend Eric, who basically encouraged me and motivated me to start this podcast, in which at some point in time you're going to see them be a part of it as well. But yeah, and we're starting this podcast, and this podcast is called The Broken Saint Podcast. I'm going to be uploading it through my Young Shepherd account, but I'm also going to be creating like a separate account just so I can upload the audio podcast of that. We'll be recording it. I will be doing some really cool, neat things with this new project. And I guess a little reason why I wanted to go this route is that though I still hopefully in the future, as I improve my creative skills on the YouTube and finding new ways to be able to, I guess, refine this particular skill set, man, much respect to the YouTube creators out there who have been able to develop an audience. I know it hasn't just been out of, from one day to another, but consistency and work and dedication to just mastering the craft. It is not easy, guys. It is definitely hard, from being able to, edit, cut, being able to properly film, watching, or having particular angles, lighting, all sorts of setups, all sorts, it is not an easy task. So one of the things that I noticed is that my videos were a little lengthy, and if I wanted to create that type of video, I would be limited on the amount of material or information that I would be able to post on the video, just for the sake of not having it so long. Most YouTubers are able to really make a good video like within a 5 to 6 minute frame. I'm not there yet, and well, the type of conversations that I want to have, the topics that I want to discuss with you guys are really in depth, to where putting that type of time restriction really hindered the quality of the content that I was delivering. But honestly, I'm so excited to start this podcast where I won't not only be myself speaking. Today's just an introduction video, so I'm going to introduce you guys a little bit about the podcast, and as well what I aim to accomplish with it, what you guys can look forward to it, and as well as what I've been doing during this quarantine, shelter in place sort of order. So yeah. One of the things that I wanted to tell you guys is that the whole point of the podcast is, it's named The Broken Saint Podcast. And just to give you guys some context on the name, The Broken Saint, as y'all know, is that I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. My worldview, my philosophy is rooted upon biblical principles and truths that dictate the way it is that I live and respond, and the way it is that I go about when I experience my life. And so The Broken Saint, the reality is that in Jesus, we are perfect. We're considered saints. And when we think about a saint, we think about somebody who is perfect, somebody that has, is without flaw, so to say, right? And so, but the reality is that as believers still here on earth, in this mortal body, we still fight and we still struggle and we still go through the everyday battles of sin. So we decided to go ahead and name the podcast The Broken Saint, because the reality is that despite us being justified or in this positional state of saints, our life is still very much broken, and where God is still mending and will one day make perfect. So that's why it's called the Broken Saint podcast. And then I guess the point of the channel is to be able to have meaningful and intentional conversations about life with friends, with peers, and with individuals who I'm just meeting. People that I think you guys would definitely, relate to, or conversations that you guys would not only find very helpful but encouraging, but as well as bringing, that light to you guys and helping you guys in whatever situation you may be in. So that's some of the things. A little intro, I guess, statement or summary to the channel is the fact that we're here to talk about real life circumstances, stories, and experiences with the pursuit to offer encouraging, edifying, and relative counsel that leads us to God. So at the end of the day, we're going to talk about real life experiences. We're going to be talking about real life stories. We're going to be talking about real life struggles, real circumstances, with the goal and the objective of being able to push forward in hope, and with meaning in the fact that, hey, there is something that God is trying to do in our lives. And we aim to discuss about faith. We aim to discuss about culture, society, finances, and worldwide events that affect our every day-to-day. So this is not really going to be talking about mental health, which is one of my primary subjects or objectives of the channel, but rather also talk about everything that revolves. Finances revolve everybody. We are all part of some form of culture or society, and then actual worldwide events that are not only happening here but all over the world, like this pandemic, COVID-19. So yeah, and I'm super excited. And like I said, with this, I'm gonna have people, close friends of mine, relatives, siblings, or just plain out peers who I have come to know in my life, who I really think you guys would benefit from listening to and hearing the conversation and dialogue in which it is that we're having with one another about particular and specific topics. I guess some of those topics that you guys can look forward to that we're going to be talking about is what does the Bible say about drinking? A lot of people have different, worldview, different perspectives about that, especially in the faith community. The importance about living in community. In this case, I know there's a lot of people who fight and struggle with the ability of being able to put themselves out there, because whether they're introvert or whether it's a deeper rooted issue in regards to trust or the willingness to be transparent and vulnerable with other people who they who they might not know. Gosh, it never came out. Also, the realities of marriage. I know I posted a video with my wife, playing a game. Sorry, I just have to take a sip of my coffee. Who I played with my wife, but no, that was just a fun little way of kicking off the channel again. But you can look forward to, whether it be with ourselves or another couple, another, matrimony, where we talk about the realities of the marriage, So these are some things, guys, but also we get really deep and we talk about, misconceptions about love. We talk about, what it looks like when pursuing a partner. We also talk about what, depth and faith, and how it is that how we are able to put the two together, and how God calls us to faithful stewardship with all our resources and our talents and our time. So yeah, those are some things that you guys can look forward to, that I will be discussing not only on a one-person basis but with other people. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have these conversations. I was trying to make videos regarding these topics by myself, which is all great and all, but I felt a better way to really capitalize on these topics is having these conversations with other people. Excuse me. With other people, people who have actually gone through these things, people who can give you insight into their life and encourage you and let you know, guys, that there is hope. Also, again, like I mentioned, the whole point of the podcast style format is to be able to go into depth about the type of conversation that we're having without having to worry about a time restraint. Obviously, we're going to be reasonable with the time. I don't want to make an hour-long podcast. My point is to maximize anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes is the max in which it is that I'm trying to work with. Obviously, there might be times where that might exceed, but the standard time that I want to be able to make these videos is within those times. like I mentioned, some topics already to look forward to. And lastly, man, honestly, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please, I encourage y'all to subscribe to the channel. I don't mean to sound desperate, but I think it is an awesome way to be able to help support and basically encourage the people who are trying to get out there and kind of create. And, you know, I would consider myself one of those persons. I sometimes get discouraged, but nonetheless, I feel like, you know, when people give you feedback, especially in the comment section, whether it would be with likes or even just subscribing to the channel, it shows immense amount of support. And it's definitely, it helps out when you're first starting off in this whole, you know, YouTube world. So yeah, with that, I also want to go on and just discuss to you guys two things, you know, about where I'm at right now in my life. And where I'm at right now in my life is we are facing a global pandemic, right? Here in the United States, we have basically reached the cap or the peak of not only deaths, but as well as cases of people who have been infected by coronavirus. So the United States exceeded the amount of cases that China, where this virus originated from, had, and you know, in not only just cases but as well as deaths. So we are out there right now. And so I live in the southern portion of Texas, and well, thank God. But yeah, like the whole global pandemic thing, like that's a world event that is not only, you know, affecting us here, but everywhere. And luckily, like I mentioned, I live in the southern portion of Texas. So right now, our area, our county, you know, our region hasn't really seen the amount of cases that is happening all over the world. Nonetheless, obviously, we have been affected. I think it was confirmed that every state now, all 50 states, have had at least like a handful of cases confirmed to, you know, COVID-19 positive. But yeah, and I guess I want to talk to you guys a little bit, you know, two questions to ask ourselves during these moments, no matter where you might be at, whether you might be in a crazy hotspot where quarantine is essential, like where there's cities shut down. So I know like the way it is in California, New York, in those type of areas where, you know, the virus has definitely been very prominent. And here, you know, we obviously have an order, but to be honest, guys, we haven't gone through a shutdown or anything like that, and people still aren't really taking this whole thing serious. It's a little unfortunate, but nonetheless, I mean, hey, what can you do about it? You try to control the variables that you can, and that's, you know, you abiding by the orders, you making sure that you're maintaining that social distancing, making sure that you're being hygienic when it comes to the hand washing, the sanitizing, and obviously those facial masks that, you know, that we are now required to wear whenever it is that we go outside for essential means. But yeah, one of the questions I want to ask, I guess, let me give you guys some background. So I have some information here. So I live in the Southern Valley of Texas. So I'm a part of Hidalgo County. And well, in our county right now, we have, you know, there's other counties, 3 other counties, I believe. So it's like Cameron County, Willacy County, and Hidalgo County, and Starr County. I think that's one. Not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, my county, Hidalgo County, has the most reported cases, and we are right now at 190 cases. This, I think, has been almost, I think we finished our 3rd week since the first confirmed COVID case. And apparently, unfortunately, we are not doing massive testing like the way there has been in other states, and why we see such a large amount of individuals who have been diagnosed and reported as, you know, COVID-19 positive. But we'll see. I mean, you know, the county is definitely doing its best, and hopefully we can keep that number, which is only 190 cases in comparison to thousands of cases all over. I know New York, man. Pray for New York, because New York, I have a friend over there. Shout out to Danny, where he, you know, his city's on a shutdown, man, and it's crazy. New York is obviously one of the places that has one of the greatest needs when it comes to, you know, medical attention, man, because, or medical resources as well, like ventilators or the mask, the N95 mask, all those type of things. You know, so pray for them, because a lot of people have been affected in New York. And so, you know, we definitely gonna keep them on our prayer. But yeah, again, 190 cases in comparison to the thousands that there is in certain cities. I would say we're definitely beyond blessed, man, and we just pray that people continue to abide by the regulations in order so we can minimize this spreading of this virus. But yeah, one of the things I was asking the question, what are we doing to stay sane during COVID-19? So obviously, staying in quarantine or in-house when you're used to, especially when you're a person like myself who is used to either being around friends, going out to friends' houses, or doing something out, in the weekend or during the weekday, more likely like coffee shops or dinner with my wife, things like that, have been completely out of the picture, and hangouts and gatherings with friends have been completely out of the picture. Well, some things we can get that can cause a disruption in our daily rhythms. So one of the things that I've been doing is if I live with people, which I do, I try to be more intentional about my interactions with them. Obviously, the 6 feet social distancing between my family and it is unreasonable to try to control that. So I live with them, so I interact with them every single day. So what I do is try to really invest in my relationship. So the time that I would not have because I'd be doing something else outside of the house, I now have. So now I try to do inside the house with those who I have around. So one of the things that I encourage you guys to do is be more intentional about interactions if you have, or if you live with people who are in your own household, who you see on a daily basis. So be more intentional about your interactions with them. Another thing is do minimal activities outside. So go outside. Obviously be wise and rational about what it is and how exposed you put yourself out there when it comes to being outside. And I'm just talking about neighborhood wise here, outside the house, is do something like read, walk around the neighborhood, meditate, enjoy. I'm not saying go out there at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and be out there burning yourself up. Unless you're trying to get an unpleasant tan, then that's a whole different reason. But if you're not, go out there during a nice, reasonable time where the weather is decent. Here in the valley, the weather is horrible. So find yourself a good, cool breezy morning or a cool evening where the sunset is going down and enjoy it. Breathe. Don't keep yourself locked in, man. Do not do that. Or just enjoy a nice conversation with, if you have a roommate or if you live with parents or siblings or spouses, go outside, enjoy the weather, enjoy, outside, man, and don't stay confined inside the house. Another thing is have a set of movies that you would like to watch. And the reason why I say this is have a plan. Say, this day we're going to watch so-and-so movies. Because what can happen, which I'm going to talk about, to avoid doing during this time that you are in lockdown, is we can binge watch. And you don't want to binge watch. That is the worst thing that you want to do. It's just unhealthy. It is not good for the mind. It is not good for the soul. And it's not good for you playing out physically, man. So make sure that you give yourself a reasonable amount of movies. But be intentional. Yeah, enjoy, man. Right now, if anything, it's a time to watch movies. But just be wise in the amount of movies that you watch. Another thing that I would put here is pray. Take this time to reestablish and strengthen your relationship with God. I know for me personally, man, I have taken this and I want to continue to take this opportunity to be able to really improve and reestablish that communion that I have with my Heavenly Father, and knowing the fact that God is trying to talk to me during these moments, and I should definitely take advantage of it. So, take the time to pray, read, meditate, and just try to listen to God's voice, in the midst of the chaos that can be going on right now in the world. Another thing is find new ways to interact with friends via video communication outlets. So that is what we're doing. I know me and my friends, we have Zoom community groups during the weekend that we just started. So that has been an encouragement. So I encourage you, if there is some form of way you communicate, whether FaceTime, Zoom, I don't know what other video communication outlets there is out there. Do it, take advantage of it, and especially the free ones. And lastly, get creative. I am taking this chance to get back into my creative space and really challenge myself, really get out there and be encouraged and motivated and not discouraged to say, hey, you know what, man, I have the time. Let me try to get creative. So again, get creative. All of us have some form of creativity. We're not saying that we all have the same level of creativity, because I know there's people out there who have way better creativity than me. But nonetheless, I still have some form of creative function, and because of who I was made by. I was made by God, who is a creative God. So I have some form of creative properties that I would love to explore, get to know, and see what it is that I'm good at. There's going to be some hit and misses, get out there, experiment, and see what it is that you can be creative with. And lastly, some things to avoid, guys, during this time: sleeping all day. I know some of us have some messed up schedules. Our sleep schedules are just all over the wall, and we are going to sleep like at 3 o'clock and waking up like at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Guys, don't waste your day like that. Don't waste your time like that. By the time you know it, if God wills, all this will go back to normal, and then you're gonna struggle really getting back into that routine. Watching movies all day. Don't let that be part of your rhythm. Don't waste your time doing that. Another thing is binge eating out of boredom. That's another thing, man. There was this awesome quote from this book that I'm reading right now. It's called Papers and Letters from Prison. And one of the things he said, one of his quotes was the fact that boredom is an expression of despair. And so when we're bored, we are in this desperate need, and sometimes we find ways to fill that, that desperateness by eating. Don't do that. Be able to minimize what it is that you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat. Lastly, staying physically active in some form of way. Do not be inactive. Don't just stay home locked in watching TVs, playing video games, watching videos on your social media. Get out there, do something, whether it be walking around, whether it's jumping jacks, the basic, sit-ups, little things that can get your heart running and going so that you can be active in some sort of way. And lastly, wasting your time in mindless activity. I know some of us can stay hours just like this on our phone, just watching videos or scrolling through feeds or looking at people's pages, whatever it may be. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. That would be making the worst time out of out of this opportunity that we're currently in, seeing it as that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of, distress going on around the world. But, what we can do from our end here is abiding by the regulations that the CDC is implementing, and as well as being proactive when it comes to, being hygienic with the hand washing, the sanitizing, and the facial mask wearing whenever it is that we're out there. But yeah, man, limiting interactions as well. The things that you can do is make the best out of the time that you're at home. And with that being said, that is basically it for today's podcast. I was so stoked, honestly, guys. It was so awesome to be able to start this introduction. I hope you guys are able to stick through the whole video. I know it was about myself and I was just talking, but nonetheless, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I would really, again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I would love y'all support if you subscribe to the channel, if you hit a like button, if you really liked it. If not, then hey, go ahead and put the dislike. It gives me feedback. I'm all about it. And more than anything, your comments, guys, will be legit. So y'all can let me know what it is that you guys want to talk about, what type of topics it is that you guys want to hear, and all those good stuff, or just any plain out, from creator to creator, some advice that you would give me and how I can better this channel and as well as the content in it. But with that in mind, guys, much love, and I hope you guys stay safe and you guys enjoy this Easter Sunday, which it is that I'm recording on, the day that I'm recording on. But anyways, with that in mind, guys, grace and peace, much love, fam, and until next time, peace.